name is Bristle, and you're watching Mr. Amir's cartoon class.
Thank you, Bristle, for the introduction. Today we are going to work on our beginner classes. So our beginner classes are for our newer drawers in our community, and we are going to be making our first character, Bluey. Bluey is a new interesting character that has been introduced into pop culture within the last 5 years. He's, of course, like this generation's Blue's Clues, very educational content, very moral, lesson learning based content, and generally it's just a great show. So, to show you guys how to draw Bluey, I'm going to start off by getting our pencil together and getting our canvas together. And we're going to end up painting him towards the end of the class, and you guys will be able to see how Bluey turns out with all his colors included and built out from here throughout the entire process of making this. Alright guys, so now that we got everything set together, let's get ready to begin. Alright, so Bluey's main body shape and his main body structure is actually a rectangle. So you're going to make just a solid rectangle. And you're going to make sure you take up most of the space because he's not that big outside of his rectangle. You're going to make a little rectangle, but you're going to make sure that you make sure the corners of your edges of your rectangle are actually rounded off. You don't want sharp corners, you want rounded corners. Making sure that your character is fully rounded out and made sure that it's fully created to the point where you get this first shape. Alright, next up, I'm going to start building out his snout. So his snout, very simple, is you're going to just come out, draw this line, and you want it just to come out just a little bit beyond where you have this rectangle shape. You guys see? Okay, then you're going to curve that down, but make sure it's very wide because it's his snout of his mouth. Right? Boom. It kind of looks like a little half a sailboat on his nose. And what you're going to do is you're going to erase this little line right here. That's just going to be causing space. And what you're going to do is you're going to make a triangle right where you see his nose. Alright, boom. This is your triangle. This is now Bluey's nose. But make sure everything on these have rounder edges. Okay, so now you have Bluey's head shape and nose. Next, you're going to do his mouth. So when you have his mouth ends here, but you're just going to have it come up so you can create that nice Bluey smile, right? And then you're going to bring it right back down and close it around like right here. Okay? Just going to make a little point right here, and boom, there's Bluey's mouth. Alright, we're already almost halfway there. Okay, so next portion is going to be the dividing portions of his snout. So his snout, this comes down here, around here, okay. And what you want to do actually is just go and leave a little bit of space right here, and then you're just going to go fully around so you can have a separation in color when you guys get to the painting portion. Boom. Okay, so Bluey has a few teeth on the top, but they're going to just be very indented a little bit here, but don't go too far up. A little bit indented here. And what you're going to do is make this really wide W shape. You see how you guys have this wide W right here? Okay. You're going to make one more little wide W here. And that's his teeth, right? And you're going to make his tongue. Takes up most of the inside of his mouth right here. And the rest of that's going to be negative space, and you're going to close his mouth up from where his teeth end and his bottom lip begins. Okay, so now you guys already have Bluey's mouth. Okay, so the next portion is going to be his eyes. His eyes are big oval shapes. So you're going to make a big oval shape for Bluey's eye here. Okay. And then you're going to do a semicircle shape right here of Bluey's head shape right there. Okay. Well, half head shape. Semicircle. And you're going to put a little bit of symmetrical circles inside of his eyes, and boom, you have now Bluey's face and his eyes. See, boom. Now, what I'm going to do is actually bring this eye a little bit. Symmetrical to the opposite eye side. If you guys can see. Okay. So you have two of your Bluey eyes. Okay. I'm going to continue to actually make this a little bit skinnier. So eyes are skinnier. Okay. Next part you're going to do is you're going to create the pouch at the bottom of Bluey's chest right here. Boom. It's just going to be a semicircle, half circle. And you're going to make some of his spots on his back. So you got two spots right here, 1, 2, just little semicircles on his back. And then you're going to give Bluey his ears. His ears are just triangles on the top of his head. So you're going to do one triangle here. You're going to make sure that this curves to where it looks like a triangle here. Alright. Boom. Now you have Bluey's string-on triangular ears. And all you have to do now is just make the in part of his ears, which is another triangle, but on the inside. Make sure you leave some space. Okay. You make two triangles here and here. Alright. Now that we have most of Bluey's facial structure and body structure, what's next, of course, is limbs. So his limbs, his legs, I'm going to just put one line right here. Make sure you make it as straight as possible. You don't want to go too far. You want to just make it a little bit because Bluey's still a child. So this leg should probably come up to this part. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make his feet. So his feet are basically, you're going to make one parenthesis here and one parenthesis here to close his feet. So it's just one parenthesis mark on each side. Then what you're going to do is you're going to actually come out and you're going to attach these. And I'll erase a little bit here. Because he's a dog, he's got little paw marks. So one, you're going to have another one here. Okay. And then you're going to add a little oval. Add a little oval right here at the bottom of this foot. So you can see what separates the top and the bottom. You're going to come out here. So you can have all three of his paws. Okay. So now you have Bluey's first foot, like paw. Okay, next foot, you're going to do the exact same thing. So you're going to add a line here and a line here to give his legs. And then what you're going to do is you're going to curve his foot just like so. Come back up like this. And you're going to give him 1, 2 paw marks. You're going to give that same oval shape on the bottom for the bottom of his foot. You're going to come in a little bit more and give him another 3rd paw on his foot. As a matter of fact, sometimes you take a little creative differences. Sometimes 2 paws look a little bit better if you just come down only halfway. Boom. So now you have Bluey's feet. So the last part, what you guys are going to do is you guys are going to make his arms. So the arms coming out from here. You're going to erase this little line right here. It's breaking your arm and your bodies apart. And Bluey, like most cartoon characters, only has 4 fingers. So 1, you're going to make another one up here, 2, another one up here, 3, and then 1 circular up here, 4. And that's 1 hand. You're just going to mark this for the inside of his paw and break this into the second half of his foot. And you're going to do that same thing on the bottom of his feet too, because these are to separate the colors that you guys are going to end up putting in later on. Next up is his other arm. So you're going to do the exact same thing on his other arm. You're going to put it out like this. I'm going to give it a little stick. And you're just going to come up, down, up, down, up, down, and a thumb. 2, indent, and the paw. Okay, so these are going to be the hooks. And you're going to give him some eyebrows. 1 eyebrow, next eyebrow. Okay. And then you guys have it. And essentially, so you have his eyebrows down. All you have left is his tail. His tail is just 1 big rectangle with some rounded off points on the side. Okay, there you go. There you have it. You guys now have your penciled in Bluey. When we return, what we're going to do next is we are going to outline Bluey, and then after we outline Bluey, then we are going to then paint Bluey. So thank you guys for the penciling portion. When we return, we will be right back with the outlining portion. Alright, now that we have our pencil outline done, what I'm going to do is outline it with marker. Make sure that all of our outline marks for our marker is fully done. And then we'll just make sure that we outline all of our lines that we went over a minute ago. Marker. Making sure that we continue to keep the same shape and same format as we did previously before outlining. sure that all the characters being outlined to make them just like the character in the show. Okay? And when you're outlining, you're just following the ones that you've already previously made. So if you're making any mistakes over in this portion, then you're not following your own rules. Now, of course, everybody creates lines differently and in different ways. But when you lay down your foundation for the characters you're building out, even if you mess up here or there, you make a line a little incorrect, majority of the piece should look exactly the same. But it's those little imperfections that you see in your own work that you start to question if that is what you personally did wrong within your own work. See? So, as I'm outlining, you're starting to see Bluey come together in the outlining format. And then after this, we are going to start to paint. And painting is a fun process. The painting process is where we get to start to add some color to him. And because Bluey has so many different shapes and colors and lines or what have you, his stuff looks very, when you look at his painted version of himself, he has a lot of different tones of colors that contrast against each other within blues. Hence the name Bluey, I guess, because you got a lot of dark blues, light blues, and then you have his cream color white, his regular color white, his pink in his ears, his blue eyes, but they're different blues than the blue in his skin, and some of his dots and his polka dots and everything. Okay, here's one line you guys also gotta remember to put, is the one that connects around here, that breaks up his eye. Right there. And both eyes do that, so this eye does it and the other eye does it. This only touch the visible in the other eye. Right here. Here. And then you're going to come on his last leg. And once you finish his leg up, you guys should be ready to rock and roll towards painting. And there you go. It's all part and tail, and there you go. You guys have your Bluey. Well, after this, we will be beginning to now color in and paint Bluey, as we have now already drew him. Alright guys, so now where we're going to begin is now the painting side. These are going to be the colors that you guys need when you're painting Bluey in. Making sure that you have your dark blues, your light blues, and your even lighter blues. Okay, you're gonna have your brush, of course. We're gonna start off with the lightest part of Bluey's body, which is his light blue. So we're gonna add some of this light blue into here, which is the pouch of his stomach. It's a mixture of a light blue and a white, making it very this brighter color, light blue. Making sure that the character gets his full coloration through colors that you put in to the piece. making sure that everything is shown in ways you see possible. So you're going to continue to add these this very light blue also to his feet, bottom of his feet. So you're going to make sure that you continue to add this lighter blue within all four parts of his bottom parts of his hands and his feet. So his hands are going to continue to go this way. Make sure that you add the lighter paint.
Amir,
Yeah, Peter.
the store opens next week.
Oh, great.
Alright, so what you guys are going to continue to do is you're going to add some more light blue within the paw prints of Bluey. And make sure you add the lightest blue you've got, because if it is kind of a mid-tone blue, certain parts of the body will match the same exact color as the other parts. So we're going to make sure that all his hands and his feet, the bottom part, has this light blue texture to it, as well as his eyebrows has a lighter blue as well, making it to where the character shows, like I said earlier, these different colors of blue. And in between his mouth, this line right here, there's a little light blue line that goes around to where the last part is his eyebrows. So his eyebrows are also this color tone. Make sure you grab this color tone for his eyebrows as well. Perfect. And so next, what we're going to do is we're going to do the mid-blue section. So the mid-blue goes here. So you're going to actually blend these two together because they're going to just blend into each other. See how the mid-blue and the light blue start to blend into each other as you do the rest of Bluey's body. Now adding this mid-blue color is the main portion of what Bluey's body type is, and the blue that he's mainly made out of. We'll make sure that you still have all your guidelines showing when you're painting in the character. But you want to be very light and gentle when filling in the character. And just make sure that everything that you outline is still showing through after you add the paint portion of your character. Because if you don't, a lot of times you will not have those guidelines and then you just have a compiled painted mess. But if you continue to keep the guidelines that you set for yourself when you started, it makes it a lot easier for you to keep track of where you add other color and are able to finish out the character in a sense of color. So you're gonna add some more of that darker blue. It's okay if you cover a little bit, you're gonna go back over anyway with some marker, but you don't want to cover the whole thing, because if you cover the whole thing, you won't be able to see the outline. And so we got that mid blue right here. Keep adding that mid blue, making it very viable for you to paint you Bluey. And so you're just going to continue to keep filling with this mid blue. You guys are really getting there, right? Being able to see how simply, how well done the characters are made throughout the process of painting. And while you're creating these characters, you're able to fully get a justified representation of what they're supposed to look like. And so you're going to add some more of that darker blue onto his tails and his arms and his limbs. You know, so you're going to add this darker blue right here.
Please get back to me, please. Okay? I'm calling you. It's Wednesday.
Okay, so we're going to make sure that we are able to add this to our legs, our tails, our arms, all the same blue throughout all of our body, because he's Mr. Bluey, shall I say. And then we're going to get into our darker blues after we finish our yellows. Because what you want to do is, whenever you're working on painting, you want to make sure that you try to go lightest to darkest when shading in colors, because in certain points, if you utilize a darker color after you utilize a lighter color, it sometimes is able to show through when you're filling it in and after it dries. And you don't want those certain things to happen certain times. So you want to make sure that you keep all your light colors and your dark colors a part of it, but you also want to make sure that you're able to have enough to fill and things to look exactly how they're supposed to look. So you're going to continue to fill this in, this mid blue. Okay, and that should be just about it on the mid blue. And then we're going to move on to our yellow in his snout and his ears. And then we'll finish up with the darker blue. And then we'll be done with our Bluey. So, yes, filled out most of it. Okay. And finished up our stomachs, everything. Make sure we finished up all the parts that need to be finished up in those lighter blues and those darker blues. Okay, so now we're going to start adding this yellow to wash off my brush. Make sure you guys always remember to wash off your brush before you start on the next color, because if you don't, those previous colors from your brush will be able to be seen when you're painting in. You see it's light yellows, now it's a whole section in color. Something wrong, we're just going to fill this whole bad boy in with this light yellow for Bluey snout. It goes all the way around, curves around and down. Okay. As you guys finish up his snout, as well as the inside of his ears, which is this yellow as well. And then we're going to move on to our darker blue colors once we complete. So here are our yellows. And then all we need is now our darker blues. So now you're going to have this darker blue, and you're going to fill in all the rest of these parts with this darker blue that you've created, mixing a regular blue color, a blue shade, with a little bit of black, giving you this darker blue tone for the rest of the character's body. So you're going to add some of that here on this side, because Bluey does have a lot of that darker blue. So you can fill in the darker blue right here. You might have to do 2 layers of it, because sometimes paints come in thinner and thicker, depending on the brand that you get. So the cheaper the brand, the thinner the coat of paint will be. And so, if you can afford the good stuff, I would say get the good stuff, because it only takes 1 layer of paint to just get it through. But if you can't afford the good stuff, then by any means, like myself, go buy the stuff at Michael's or Blick, mostly Michael's, if you really are trying to go cheap. And if you're really trying to go to cheap, go to Hobby Lobby. It depends on what state you live in, but these are the places that we have out here in New York. Because as a New Yorker, most of us are artists. You know, a lot of us come here from other states to be enthralled in the arts. For me, I was born in it. You decided to move to the arts. I was born in it. So, as a born natural Brooklynite, you know, take my art very, very seriously. But not too seriously, because, you know, I'm also creating cartoons. So, a lot of the times when you're creating a cartoon, how serious can you get when you're trying to make a character like squash and stretch and slam coyotes and hit road runners and all this other stuff? I think there's literally no way in fashion that you would be able to continue to take cartooning seriously if you're not thinking of it as a silly format in itself. So you're going to continue, you're going to add some of this dark blue over here on the edge of this tail as well. You guys are basically there. Basically almost done with Bluey. You know. And it doesn't take a lot of parts, just takes a couple colors, but a lot of preparation for yourself to get there. Now, use different shades of blues. The biggest part was making sure I mixed the colors correctly. So, to get this color, remember, use a mid blue mixed with a black to get you guys a dark navy blue like this. Again, I may have to go over it again with another layer of paint, just because the paint we've got is a little bit lighter and smearable, or smeary looking. So, just to give him a little bit of highlight at the tip of his nose like he does in the show. I'm gonna add a little bit of white into his nose. And you're gonna go over it with this black. And not this black, this dark burnt color. So you can make sure that it just looks like a little bit of highlight. It's not really a change too much into color. Sometimes with these types of characters, you might just have to glob a color on there. And not really worry too much about it too neat. Alright. So the last part that you need left is his eyes, which is black. Some black eyes. Black pupils in. Black pupils, and of course the inside of his mouth is black as well. So right here, that's some black areas. Alright. Perfect. And then the last part is his tongue, which is this red color. But there you guys have it. That is essentially the blue you guys are looking for. And once the character dries off after we finish this little red, we're going to give it one last outline. Right. And this on his tongue right here. Perfect. And that's our Bluey. We're going to give it one more outline when it's dried off. And maybe I'll add some white to his pupils. Okay. We'll definitely put an outline over it again. Eyes, just to make sure it looks consistent. there you guys have it. There's Bluey. Now I'm going to outline it after we guys return. Alright, now that our Bluey is essentially dry, mostly, at certain points, now we're just going to do our re-outlining. Let's turn up this noise. So always after you finish your painting portion, make sure that you re-outline your characters, especially when you're doing cartooning, because a lot of the times we create, we paint, we do all this portion, and when we're painting we go over the lines that we already set out for ourselves, and sometimes we just need to make it pop a little bit more and re-outlining your characters after the painting is dried is a very, very, very good way of making sure that you maintain the quality of the line work that you put in originally, so you don't look back at it and be like, well, it doesn't look like what I wanted it to look like. It doesn't look like what you wanted it to look like because you didn't re-outline the lines that you put there before. So usually what I do is I re-outline after I finish every painting, or most paintings, just so I can have that bolder look and it really stands out on the page because you can see those black lines as the spectator of the painting. A lot of what goes into painting is all perspective of how people view the piece and can see the piece, and what significant emotional attachment that it brings to them. Now, a lot of times that could be found with not just only the character, but also the background that's made around it. And a lot of times when people are purchasing art, they're purchasing art from an artist because they genuinely just resemble or, you know, resonate with the artist that's creating the pieces for them. For me, my main goal with art is just to get people to really want to make it. You know, I want you guys to make art. I make art every day for myself, and you know, I do either 1 to 2 pieces a day, depends on how I'm feeling. If I can convince everybody to want to do at least 1 piece a day, or 1 piece of artwork a week, let alone every day, you will immediately start to appreciate what art is in everyone's everyday life. You know, being able to really appreciate art in its most raw form. Give me 1 second. But to appreciate art in its most raw form, where you're creating something from concept to finish, just telling yourself, hey, I want to make this one thing. Main reason why I've started this series is because when I started painting, I had, of course, my father who inspired me to paint, but he never really taught me what the basis of painting was, and each step by step. And every time I would want to create something, I'm going based off of my, you know, imagination on how to draw these different characters and how to draw these different things. But I don't have a full grasp on, I didn't have a full grasp on how to get there. And so it took me many years of trial and error of different cartoon styles and different anime styles. Like, specifically, the hardest ones for me was creating an anime character, and illustrating an anime character. Main reason why is because we as American drawers and American animators, we see a lot of our works in a very bouncy and circular way, where a lot of Japanese artworks are more sharp-edged and lined, sharp-edged and triangular. And so, because it's more of a sharper edge and a triangular motion, fudge knuckle, because I got some blue on my gloves and some blue on my Bluey. It's okay, if you catch it early enough, you can smear it off and just go over it again with that light blue. But essentially, after you outline all your parts, you're essentially done for the drawing you need to. Okay. There you have it. Just touch it up with just a tad. Whatsoever. Alright. So touch it up here, touch it up there. Touch it up everywhere. There you go. And you guys have it. You guys essentially have your Bluey. Next time, guys, when you come in and do your next characters, and you want to do your next project, shall I say? You can start off with Bluey. Alright. There you go, guys. There's our excitable, happy, go lucky, young, astounded. You have our astounded Bluey, made completely from scratch. Coconuts have water in them, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Alright, if you guys enjoyed this video and this tutorial of how you guys can draw Bluey, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you.